is an SABC News presentation.
Good morning and welcome to our Thursday edition of A View from the House, coming to you live from the SABC studios at Parliament in Cape Town. My name is Asanda Mbeche. In our program this morning, President Jacob Zuma calls on faith-based organizations to play a more active role in helping South Africans to deal with deep-seated anger. Today is the official opening of the National House of Traditional Leaders, and we speak with the chairperson, Kgosi Maubane. Later in our program, Parliament launches a campaign to get the public involved in crafting a public participation framework. If we still have time left, we'll bring you members' statement in the National Assembly. To our first story, Cabinet Ministers, traditional leaders and kings from the SADC region will today attend the official opening of the first session of the 4th National House of Traditional Leaders. The keynote address will be delivered by President Jacob Zuma. Of critical importance is the role of traditional leaders in uplifting living conditions of the poor. To talk to us about this and other issues affecting traditional leaders at local government level, we're now joined by the National Chairperson, Kgosi Maubane. Good morning, sir, and welcome.
Good morning, Asanda.
The role of the National House of Traditional Leaders, more importantly, is to develop the living conditions and improve the living conditions of people in rural areas. Is that institution fulfilling that role?
Thank you, Asanda. The Institution of Traditional Leadership is trying its best to fulfill the role. The traditional leaders continue to support government in its endeavor to develop rural communities. The traditional leaders make land available for development. They participate in the IDPs of municipalities. They enter into partnership with municipalities, and sometimes they make their own development initiatives together with their communities.
Now, talking about partnerships with municipalities, in the past there's been conflicting stances between traditional leaders and elected representatives such as councillors. Over the years, has there been improvement in relations, especially in improving the lives of the poor?
Asanda, it's safe to say the situation has improved remarkably, though in other areas there are still some shortcomings. But in majority of provinces, there are functional relationships. I must say that we still have some ground to cover, but I believe that we have turned the corner in as far as the relationship is between the two structures and institutions are concerned. And we are looking forward to an anticipated summit between the elected municipal councillors and traditional leaders to cement this relationship.
Talking about service delivery in rural communities with infrastructure issues and other historical problems that exist, how is your jurisdiction, for instance, dealing with improving service level conditions there?
Traditional leaders to improve their service delivery progress is that they are working together with municipalities to address these challenges around service delivery. And we believe that working together with the municipalities will bring better returns for the communities, but we still have to find a meaningful role for traditional leaders defined in legislation to participate in those municipal councils.
Currently, the National Council of Provinces is dealing with a rather controversial piece of legislation, the Traditional Courts Bill. Women empowerment organizations, including the Minister for Women, Children and People with Disabilities, have raised views that are opposing the bill. Some have called for it to be scrapped. Others have said it must be changed. There needs to be drastic change in that. Is that something that the National House of Traditional Leaders has had time to discuss and formulate a stance around?
The Traditional Courts Bill objective and intentions is very important. Core to its objective is to address the discriminatory practices of the past and also to transform the institution, the traditional justice system, to be in line with the constitutional imperatives and values. So it also tries to achieve equality between all sexes. Women will have access to this traditional cause the same as men. And I think that we should rather focus on the contents of the bill than on our past experiences. And any legislation that seeks to improve equality, which definitely will be supported by the House.
Is there willingness amongst traditional leaders to embrace the differing opinions that the different organizations are bringing forward to make this bill more women-friendly?
Definitely, yes. Traditional leaders are supportive of gender equality, and we are willing really to listen to dissenting opinion, as is our rights and anybody's rights to voice their opinion.
Lastly, traditional leaders have always raised issues about shortages in resources for them to carry out their mandate. In President Zuma's address today, what do you expect? What does the House expect him to speak to on the challenges that the House is addressing?
We believe that resources are never enough. But the lack of resources in our case, in service delivery, in our traditional council especially, we would like to see a commitment from the president to address this important issue. The capacitation of the departments that are working for traditional leaders, that is the Department of Traditional Affairs. It's very important, it's key to this matter. If the skill training, the risk capacity building, it will be easier for traditional structures to be much more active and visible. What is important is to capacitate firstly the traditional affairs department, and also it will cascade down to traditional structures, including the traditional councils on the ground, as traditional leaders are much in tune with the needs of the communities on the ground.
Kgosi Maubane, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Now, Parliament launched a campaign to get the public involved in crafting a public participation framework. That's our story after the break. Don't go away.